Welcome to Sleepy Tales. My name is Mateus, and before we begin today's story, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to our channel and leave a comment below saying, "I'll sleep well tonight." Now, sit back, relax, and let's dive into tonight's tale. Alex and Sophia met at the campus cafe during finals week. They were both studying for the same exam, and when they realized they were struggling with the same material, they struck up a conversation. They ended up talking for hours, sharing stories, and laughing about their shared experiences. Alex was handsome, with sharp features, piercing blue eyes, and a charming smile. Sophia was stunning, with long black hair, full lips, and a mischievous glint in her eye. They exchanged numbers and made plans to meet up again at the cafe the next day. Over the next few weeks, Alex and Sophia met up at the cafe every day to study together. They started to become closer, sharing personal stories and confiding in each other about their hopes and dreams. They both felt a spark between them, but neither was willing to admit their feelings out loud. One day, as they were leaving the cafe, Alex took Sophia's hand and looked deep into her eyes. "I don't want to just study with you anymore," he said. "I want to take you out on a date." Sophia felt her heart skip a beat. She had been hoping for this moment for weeks, but she still couldn't believe it was happening. "Yes," she said, smiling. "I'd like that." Their first date was magical. They went to a fancy restaurant and shared a bottle of wine. They talked for hours, never running out of things to say. They walked around the city, holding hands, and ended up sitting by a fountain, looking up at the stars. As they sat there, Alex turned to Sophia and said, "I have something to tell you. Something that I haven't told anyone else." Sophia looked at him, curious. "What is it?" "I'm not just a student," he said. "I'm actually a prince. I come from a small country in Europe." Sophia was shocked. She had never met a prince before, let alone dated one. But she was also intrigued. She had always been fascinated by royalty and the glamorous life that came with it. Over the next few weeks, Sophia and Alex's relationship continued to grow stronger. They went on more dates, and Alex introduced Sophia to his friends and family. Sophia was hesitant at first, feeling intimidated by the wealth and privilege that surrounded Alex's life. But she quickly realized that they were all kind and welcoming, and that they genuinely cared about her and Alex's relationship. As the end of the semester approached, Alex told Sophia that he had to return to his country for a few months. He had royal duties to attend to, and he couldn't postpone them any longer. Sophia was devastated. She didn't know how she was going to cope without him. But Alex had a surprise for her. He had arranged for her to come with him to his country, and he wanted her to meet his family and see where he came from. Sophia was shocked and thrilled at the same time. She had never been out of the country before, let alone to Europe, and the thought of exploring a new place with Alex by her side made her heart race. They flew to Alex's country together, and Sophia was awestruck by the beauty and grandeur of it all. The palaces, the gardens, the sparkling sea, it was like something out of a fairy tale. Alex introduced her to his parents, his siblings, and his advisors, and everyone welcomed her with open arms. But as the days passed, Sophia began to feel like she didn't belong. She missed her family, her friends, and her life back home. She also started to notice that Alex was preoccupied with his duties, and that they didn't have as much time together as she had hoped. One night, at a fancy ball held in honor of Alex's homecoming, Sophia found herself feeling lost and alone. She watched as Alex mingled with the other guests, his princely charm in full effect, and she couldn't help but feel like she was on the outside looking in. As she wandered through the ballroom, she stumbled upon a group of people huddled together, whispering excitedly. She recognized some of them as Alex's advisors, and she couldn't help but feel curious. She edged closer, trying to hear what they were saying. "But what about the treaty?" one of them was saying. "It's crucial that we get it signed by the end of the month." "I know," said another. "But with the prince's absence, we're going to have to push back the negotiations." Sophia's ears perked up. What treaty were they talking about? And why did it involve Alex? She didn't have long to ponder the question. Just then, Alex appeared at her side, smiling. "I've been looking for you," he said, taking her hand. Sophia felt a pang of guilt. She had been eavesdropping on his advisors, and she knew that it wasn't right. But she couldn't help but feel like there was something going on that she didn't know about. As the night wore on, Sophia found herself increasingly uneasy. She tried to enjoy herself, but she couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Alex was distant, and he seemed preoccupied with his duties. Sophia couldn't help but feel like she was a burden, a distraction from the important work that he had to do. The next morning, as they sat down for breakfast in the palace's grand dining room, Sophia couldn't take it anymore. "Alex, is everything okay?" she asked, looking at him with concern. Alex looked up from his plate, his eyes weary. "I'm sorry, Sophia," he said. "I didn't mean to ignore you last night. There's just a lot going on right now." "What's going on?" Sophia asked. "Is it the treaty?" Alex hesitated for a moment, then nodded. "Yes," he said. "It's a delicate situation, and my advisors are worried that we won't be able to get it signed in time." Sophia felt a knot form in her stomach. She didn't know much about treaties or negotiations, but she knew that they were important. And she couldn't help but feel like there was something more going on than Alex was letting on. Over the next few days, Sophia tried to enjoy her time in the palace. She explored the gardens, went on tours of the city, and even attended a few official events with Alex. But she couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. One day, as she was walking through the palace's library, she stumbled upon a book about the history of Alex's country. As she flipped through the pages, she came across a chapter about a treaty that had been signed between Alex's country and a neighboring country over a century ago. As she read the chapter, Sophia's heart sank. The treaty had been signed to end a long-standing feud between the two countries, and it had been hailed as a major diplomatic victory at the time. But the treaty had also included a clause that had been kept secret from the public, a clause that gave Alex's country control over a strategic piece of land that had previously belonged to the neighboring country. Alex known about this clause all along? Had he been keeping it from her? And what did it mean for the current treaty negotiations? As Sophia sat in the library, lost in thought, she heard a knock on the door. She looked up to see one of Alex's advisors, a stern-looking man with a clipboard in hand. "Your Highness requests your presence in the war room, Miss Sophia," he said, his tone clipped. Sophia felt a shiver run down her spine. The war room? What could Alex possibly need her for in there? She followed the advisors through the palace's winding corridors, her mind racing. When they reached the war room, she found Alex sitting at the head of a long table, surrounded by his advisors. They were all looking at her expectantly. "Thank you for coming, Sophia," Alex said, his tone formal. "I've called you here because I need your help with something." Sophia felt a lump form in her throat. What could she possibly do to help with treaty negotiations? I've been informed that the other party is demanding that we give up control of the disputed territory, Alex continued. I'm afraid that if we do that, it will put us at a severe disadvantage. Sophia felt a sinking feeling in her chest. She knew what this was about now. Alex had been keeping the treaty's secret clause from her, and now he was asking her to help him keep it. I don't know what to do, Sophia, Alex said, looking at her with pleading eyes. I need your help. I need you to convince the other party to back down. Sophia felt a surge of anger. She had trusted Alex, and he had betrayed her. But she also felt a sense of obligation. She had come to his country as his guest, and she couldn't just walk away. Over the next few days, Sophia worked tirelessly to try to find a solution. She researched the history of the disputed territory, trying to find a way to argue that it rightfully belonged to Alex's country. She consulted with Alex's advisors, trying to come up with a diplomatic solution. But no matter what she did, it seemed like the other party was unwilling to back down. And the more Sophia learned about the treaty, the more she realized how much was at stake. Finally, as the deadline for the treaty signing approached, Sophia knew what she had to do. She couldn't in good conscience help Alex keep the treaty's secret clause. She had to come clean. She approached Alex in his private chambers, her heart racing. Alex, we need to talk, she said, her voice shaking. Alex looked up from his desk, his eyes tired. What is it, Sophia? He asked. I know about the treaty, Sophia said, her voice barely above a whisper. I know about the secret clause. Alex's eyes widened in surprise. How did you find out? He asked. I found a book in the library, Sophia said. I didn't mean to, but I stumbled upon it. Alex sighed, his shoulders slumping. I didn't want you to find out like this, he said. But I didn't know what else to do. The treaty is important, Sophia. It's crucial for the future of my country. I understand that, Sophia said. But I can't help you keep this secret. It's not right. Alex looked at her for a long moment, his expression unreadable. Finally, he nodded. You're right, Sophia, he said. I shouldn't have kept this from you. I'll come clean to the other party. It's the right thing to do. Sophia felt a sense of relief wash over her. She had been afraid of what Alex's reaction might be, but he had surprised her by taking responsibility for his actions. Over the next few days, Alex and Sophia worked together to come up with a new solution to the treaty negotiations. They reached out to the other party, explaining the situation and asking for a renegotiation of the terms. To Sophia's surprise, the other party was willing to listen. With Alex's help, Sophia was able to present a compelling argument for why the disputed territory rightfully belonged to his country. And in the end, they were able to reach a new agreement that satisfied both sides. As the treaty was signed, Sophia felt a sense of accomplishment. She had come to Alex's country to help with the negotiations, and despite the unexpected twist, she had been able to make a difference. Over the next few weeks, Sophia and Alex grew closer. They spent long hours working together, and they found that they had a lot in common. Despite the initial deception, they had built a strong foundation of trust. And then one day, as Sophia was walking through the palace gardens, Alex appeared at her side. Sophia, he said, taking her hand. I have something to tell you. Sophia looked up at him, her heart pounding. She had grown to care for Alex deeply, but she didn't know what he was going to say. I didn't just bring you here to help with the treaty negotiations, Alex said, his eyes meeting hers. I brought you here because I wanted to get to know you better. Sophia, I've fallen in love with you. Sophia felt her heart skip a beat. She had never expected to fall in love with someone in a foreign country, but she couldn't deny that she had grown to care for Alex as well. "I love you too, Alex," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Alex smiled, his eyes shining. "I'm glad," he said, "because I have one more surprise for you." And with that, he got down on one knee and pulled out a small velvet box. Inside was a beautiful diamond ring. "Sophia," he said, his voice filled with emotion, "will you marry me?" Sophia felt tears spring to her eyes. She had never been proposed to before, and she couldn't believe that this was happening. "Yes, Alex," she said, her voice trembling. "I will marry you." And with that, Alex slipped the ring onto her finger, sealing their love and their partnership forever. Despite the unexpected twist in their story, Sophia and Alex had found their happily ever after. Thank you for listening to this bedtime story, and remember, if you struggle with falling or staying asleep at night, click on the first link in the description for the ultimate solution to your problem. Now, choose one of these two videos and continue on our journey in the world of bedtime stories.